Is Stellar's XLM token going to be a huge hit or a near miss? We're going to talk about all the recent news that's been going on with Stellar, as well as its possible link with Elon Musk. We're going to be talking about what's been going on with the Biden administration, as well as JP Morgan was fined $4 million by the SEC. Make sure you guys tune in all the way to the end of this video to find out all the details. Hey guys, it's Ryan with Big Dog Investing. Thank you guys for tuning into my channel. If you guys could do a couple of things for me, if you guys go and like, comment, subscribe to my channel if you guys have not done so already. Click the bell notification down below so YouTube can send you guys notifications whenever I release videos. Watch my videos all the way to the end. And if you guys could, share my videos and share my channel with anyone. I'm trying to grow my channel as much as I can, and I definitely need your guys' help in doing so. Getting started, today's going to be Tuesday, June 27th. The total market cap for all cryptocurrency right now is $1.19 trillion. This is a 1.16% increase on the day today. Bitcoin right now is currently trading at $30,647, Ethereum $1,887, and XRP right now at 48.35 cents. Getting ready with our biggest gainers and losers. XLM is going to be our biggest gainer, up 11% on the day today. We're going to talk about the reasons why. Woo's going to be up 10.2%. KS is going to be up 9.7%. Our biggest losers on the day, Bit's going to be down 9.4%. FXS is going to be down 4.3%. And then Ton's going to be down 2.7%. Getting into some news though, the White House just announced that they're going to be spending $42 billion in funding to bring internet access to every single American home by 2030. Comcast stock was up about 1% on the day. I do see this as a positive. Obviously, we want everyone here in the United States to have the same access to almost everything. So in my opinion, I do see this as a success. Hopefully they can actually do this though. Over the weekend, there was a Russian coup between Putin and then a private military organization in Russia. There was no bloodshed that really happened. We're not really going to talk much about this. If you guys followed anything on the news, you could see this. It's just kind of world news that kind of affected financial markets or could potentially. So I wanted to bring it to your guys' attention, as well as I didn't really find an article on it, but it was all over the news, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube also. There was a submarine called Titan that went to go down to see the Titanic, had 5 people on board, the CEO of the company, as well as a person who worked for the company who was going to be basically like the tour guide, and 3 citizens, all who were billionaires, and one of the billionaires actually brought his son on board. And then it imploded, according to the U.S. Coast Guard. All 5 are now deceased, unfortunately. But you guys can research and do any analysis you guys want to on that. Moving forward, though, after Hunter Biden pleaded guilty to tax fraud and a gun charge, he was seen at a White House dinner. In my opinion, this is a bad look about what's been going on with the Biden administration. Obviously, he just pleaded guilty to misdemeanor charges. I believe they were dropped down from felonies to misdemeanors, but this is just a bad look to have him at this state dinner. Also, a new revelation came out with WhatsApp. Somebody released one of Hunter Biden's messages to a person in the Communist Party for China. And the message states, I am sitting here with my father. Obviously, he has one father, Joe Biden, President Biden. And we would like to understand why the commitment made was not fulfilled. Tell the director I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand. And now means tonight. And Zai, if I get a call or text from anyone involved from this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, I will make certain that between you or between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows, and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Is this proof that Joe Biden was involved in his son's dealings while in office? Obviously, there needs to be more reported on this. Right here, the White House National Secretary, Council Coordinator walks out. He basically says that he's not going to talk or speak on this. And then also when the press secretary, Pierre Paul, was talked about this, she walked out of the press briefing room also. She basically said, I'm not going to answer any questions. I believe the White House counsel already talked about this, and their answer is what I'm going to stick with. Nothing else to report. Right here it says this message is right here. She refused to provide statements saying nothing has changed. It did not confirm or deny that the president was involved. So we're going to see what happens with this. But how's the mainstream media talking about this? Well, The View, if you guys have watched this, most people haven't. I don't understand how this is still on the air. But Anna Navarro, who's one of the hosts, says the Hunter Biden story, the scandal, and that, this and that. It's also the story of a father's love. He is the father first, take it or leave it, about him being at the White House state dinner. In my opinion, I definitely disagree about this. You can love and support your kids, but at the same time, if you're the president of the United States, you have a bigger responsibility to the American people, not just your family matters. Biden also came out and said that I sold a lot of state secrets and a lot of very important things. Now, the clip is only 14 seconds, but in this clip, he does say this, but at the very end of the clip, it's not shown in this, but he does come out and say, like, just kidding, haha. But in my opinion, he's lying to the American people. If you guys look right here, this is the Prime Minister of India. And look, he like looks at him like, "What the hell are you doing?" when he says, "I stole those state secrets." Obviously, there's something else going on, but in my opinion, this is right in front of you. A lot of people, when they're confronted with lies, they kind of make jokes and stuff like that. There's so much coming out right now with the Biden administration and the family collusion and corruption, but I wanted to bring it to your guys' attention. Obviously, do your guys' own independent research. But with everything going on, especially with the WhatsApp message and everything, someone just leaked the audio footage to CNN of Trump discussing classified material. Now, in my opinion, how can they release this? Obviously, the judge ordered President Trump, former President Trump, to not actually talk about the case. He's not allowed to try to sway the public's opinion in his way, in his views. He's not allowed to talk about what he did, what he didn't do. He basically has to remain silent on the order, or he's going to face prison time. But the courts can go somehow release all of the audio footage to CNN. In my opinion, this is them shifting the blame or shifting your guys' point of view somewhere else in a direction so you guys don't actually see what's going on with these WhatsApp messages. That's just my personal opinion. Obviously, do your guys' own independent research. Remarks comes out and says, Justin, CISA, big tech, and U.S. government funded third parties colluded to censor Americans, new White House report reveals. So if you guys want to, you guys can go ahead and read this document. In my opinion, this just keeps on showing all of the collusion and corruption that was going on. And then, if you guys don't know who this is Jack Dorsey, the creator and founder of Twitter, who has now sold it to Elon Musk. But Jack comes out and says, removed from the App Store for enabling tipping to everyone in the world without the need for a bank, payment card, or government permission. Brian Armstrong comes out and says, it's crazy that Apple will unilaterally block you from running the software you want on your own device. One of the most disrespectful parts of their culture, and it's damaging to their brand. Okay. This is the third party stuff that's been going on to censor Americans, in my opinion. Now, the FDIC accidentally reveals that the Silicon Valley bank depositors that bailed out. So, if you guys want to, you guys can click this article, but it comes out and it shows everyone that was bailed out. So, 1 billion to Sequoia, Kuzan, which is a 902.9 billion million in deposits. Alta Labs right here has 680.3 million. Obviously, the list goes on and on. There's more than this. That was just in this article, but those are the big fish that they basically came out, and your guys' taxpayer dollars, as well as money that the big banks put into the FDIC, those are the money that actually got paid to those individuals who somehow lost all their money with what's been going on with the bank bailouts. Wendy O comes out and says the SEC fined JP Morgan $4 million for accidentally deleting 47 million emails. Has Gary addressed this publicly like he has with all the crypto actions? What about Warren? Okay, Elizabeth Warren. I feel she fights for the underdogs. Now, in my opinion, I do see this as a huge negative for JP Morgan. Obviously, there's a lot of collusion and stuff with ETHgate where they trying to hide those emails, okay, because they deleted them, okay? It's not like, you can somehow just magically, you accidentally click one click and then it's gone. Especially like your guys' photos now on your guys' Apple iPhones. If you guys delete something, it goes to like the trash bin and then it gets permanently deleted somewhere else. I'm sure this is the same way. So it didn't accidentally get deleted, in my opinion. But again, do your guys' own independent research. Canadian housing crash. Mortgage payments to go up by 40%. They're saying by 2030, mortgage rates are going to go up by 40%. And this is due to Most countries, especially like the United States, have a fixed mortgage rate, but Canada does not. Um, so basically, you have like a 5-year rate that's fixed before it adjusts to inflation, and whatever the mortgage rates are at that time. So basically, if you're going to be spending $1,500 on your guys' loan, you're going to probably jump up to about $2,200 by 2030. And in my opinion, this is just terrible. And that's bad for the economy and obviously bad for the housing market. Getting into our Watcher Guru news, Crypto.com gains regulatory license to provide crypto services in Spain. In my opinion, I'm not a huge fan of Crypto.com or the Crow token. Um, in my opinion, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of these companies, especially when they take over like sporting arenas and stuff like that. Like we saw Staples Center get converted to Crypto.com Arena. We saw FTX stadiums and stuff like that across the board. In my opinion, that it shouldn't be using consumer funds as well as the fees that they charge to basically brand name, in my opinion, run some commercial stuff like that, but don't actually spend all of this money on brand deals. International Monetary Fund says countries banning crypto may not be effective. It may not be effective in the long run. And this is due to a lot of people trying to say that crypto assets actually have a way of the future. We saw BlackRock come out and say that they do see crypto as an investment. Only time's going to tell, though, if they are right. German software gains SAP and test cross-boarding payments using Circle, USDC. In my opinion, they do see this as a plus. Will they use the XRP token, the XLM token, or something else? That's to be determined. Bitcoin did reach $31,000 on June 23rd. Belgium orders Binance to cease crypto services in the country. Now, obviously, everyone's trying to crack down on Binance right now. And in my opinion, it's because they don't want the actual crypto exchanges that are currently succeeding. Globally, right now, they want to pick and choose winners and losers. SEC approves first leverage Bitcoin futures ETF. Now, in my opinion, I don't see how a leverage ETF can come out before a spot ETF. A lot of companies right now have applied for a spot ETF, but in my opinion, this is a lot more risky. We'll see what happens though. Um, Hong Kong's largest bank, HSBC, to offer Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs to customers. What about everything else that's been going on? What other crypto assets are they going to actually add to this? Or are they only going to choose Bitcoin and Ethereum? Bankrupt FTX says they have recovered $7 billion in liquid assets. Obviously, we saw a major collapse of FTX in the past couple of years. They're going to try to relaunch their FTX exchange. In my opinion, high risk. If you guys want to invest in the FTX token, do it at your guys' own risk. Um, but that's the thing about cryptocurrency. You can recover all of the assets. The reason why is everything on the blockchain is public and you can see transactions if you guys want to. You guys can look up transactions. You can see where money's being sent to and from. And there's no really transparent, everything's transparent. There's no really way to like hide things like you could with cash. White House says Americans feel better about their personal finances because of the Biden policies. In my opinion, I do see this as it's completely wrong. If you guys talk to 100 Americans, I'm going to tell you probably 90% of them are going to say that they are struggling right now. And obviously, Biden's administration has not done anything to help with that, especially mortgage rates are still going up. Cost of living is going up, and nothing else has been being changed right now. Um, HSBC, we already talked about them. Hong Kong's exchange or bank right now says one of the largest banks in the world warns a U.S. recession is coming this year. We'll see what happens with that, though. In my opinion, I think we've already been in a recession. Obviously, it's not being politicized, obviously, because the election's coming up, in my opinion. But we're going to see what happens. 4.2 trillion asset manager Fidelity to file for spot Bitcoin ETF. We saw Fidelity, Citadel, and also Charles Schwab apply and try to create a crypto exchange. Last video that I reported on, but now Fidelity is coming out with a Bitcoin spot ETF. Now, Meta Lawman comes out and says the Wolf of Wall Streets nailed the Prime Trust debacle step by step. Number one, lose private keys to customers' crypto, panic, use customer money to replace the lost crypto, get caught, waiting for the last logical step now. Senator Warren blames inherent evils for crypto. If you guys want to, this is, in my opinion, is a good video to watch. But they're basically just talking about what's been going on with Prime Trust, and they lost the money. They're using customer funds to replace the lost crypto. They got caught doing it. We're going to see what comes up with this. If there's going to be more government action, is the SEC going to step in? If you guys want to know what's going on in Congress this week, here's a breakdown from Ron Hammond. Payment infrastructure news comes out and says the upcoming launch of FedNow, which is supposed to be next month, is likely to be the initial spark of the ISO 20022 in the US market. A launch, FedNow will introduce ISO messages to instruct customer credit transfers, requests for payments, interbank liquidity transfers, as well as FedNow system and account reporting messages. The FedNow is using for Swift's My Standards platform to provide access to the FedNow ISO 20022 messages, specifications, accompanying implementation guides. Now, in my opinion, this is just a trial period. We'll see what happens with it. Because there's a lot been going on. FedNow has not actually used a bunch of transactions at one time. Will FedNow succeed or will it fail? In my opinion, I kind of 50-50 on it right now. I do know if they were using Ripple, I'm more than like 90% certain it would succeed. But they're going to try to use FedNow. We'll see what happens with it. But it's something to look out for. We might see an initial spark. They're talking about a price increase. Again, no financial advice. We'll see what happens. Now, if you guys know anything about Flare, there's a lot of controversy that's been going on with Flare, especially with the airdrops. People have only received certain portions of their Flare tokens. It took me forever to receive, 10% of my tokens. That's all I've technically received right now that I was supposed to receive. But Flare came out and says that their Genesis token supply, I think it's like, don't know off the top of my head, I think it's 100 trillion tokens of Flare tokens created at a network Genesis. The number has since increased slightly due to network inflation. In my opinion, what's network inflation? How can they just create more tokens? In my opinion, this is exactly what happened with Luna when their founder Do Kwon came out and created just massive tokens, and it sank the price of the Luna token from like $98 to less than 10 hundredths of or thousandths of a penny in a matter of hours. In my opinion, they shouldn't be able to create more tokens. You should have a max supply, in my opinion. Now, getting into our Stellar news, Coinbase came out and says Stellar's open network enables users around the world to create, send, and trade digital representations of all forms of money. Coinbase is making it easier than ever to store and move money by adding USDC support for Stellar. Now, they came out and said the exact same thing for XRP. So, Dudek, thank you for pointing that out. But for those of you guys that have followed my channel, we've talked about this several times. They were using the XRP token. Now they're going to be using Stellar. In my opinion, this is part of the reason why, that Stellar's XLM price has gone up. This is probably the main reason why, but there's also been reports just recently, this came out in the last hour, that Elon Musk and Stellar are connected. Now, Jed McCaleb is the founder of Stellar, and he was also the co-founder of Ripple, has a new company called Vast. Vast has partnered with SpaceX to launch the world's first private space station no earlier than August of 2025 on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. Now, if you guys want to, you guys can look more into this. But everything Jed McCaleb touches obviously does well, and then it goes bad. There's been reports that he's actually been involved with Mt. Gox right before the huge collapse of that. And then everyone else that was talking about it and investing and put their Bitcoin into it. Obviously, the price increased drastically, but you couldn't pull it out because it was caught in a bunch of lawsuits. Then he created and co-founded Ripple, and then he left Ripple, and then Ripple gets sued, and then he wasn't brought up in the Ripple versus the SEC lawsuit with Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson. He kind of slid underneath the rug. He created Stellar and then created the XLM token. And then now he created a company called Vast. This is why I say, like, is it going to be big or is it going to be nothing? Because we don't know, because everything that Jed McCaleb has touched has succeeded and then crashed and burned, but then also is still being revived. In my opinion, I don't know why he left Ripple, but he seems to be doing very well. He's super wealthy. We'll see what happens, though, with XLM. In my opinion, I'm bullish on it. Again, no financial advice. Meta Lawman has come out and said that Judge Jackson, this is for the SEC versus Binance, has issued a brief order denying Binance's motion before the SEC. It filed its response. The judge wrote that it is not necessary to reiterate both sides of obligations to comply with ethic rules, and that she will not get involved in wordsmithing the parties' press releases. So, while it does not impact the merits of the case, it's not a great result for Binance. And if you guys are remembered from my last video, we talked about this, where Binance basically went on the offense and they tried to basically come out and say they want the SEC to come out and be open and upfront about it. But the judge says, I'm not going to go back and forth with you guys. That's not what I'm here for. Now, I like to present both sides. So Dark Horse comes out and says, I wonder who the XRP influencers that were brought by Ripple. They talked about a bunch of stuff that's been going on with Ripple versus the SEC and new details that were released in the case. Now, Mr. Huber comes out and says, while it's not always a good look, it's also not a bad look either, because obviously companies want to promote themselves. It was a bad look, in my opinion, but also not terrible that the Ripple company tried to promote the XRP token by paying exchanges to list the XRP token, spending money on advertisement, stuff like that. If you guys want to read more into it, you guys can. But I try to be as transparent as I can. I'm still super bullish on XRP. Now, there was a huge rumor that was going around on a buyback of Ripple. John Deaton comes out and says, I do not believe Ripple is buying back 10 billion XRP until I hear it from Ripple. There's a lot of people talking about this. If you guys are actually following Ripple and the XRP token, it was proposed by somebody on the internet that Ripple was going to be buying back 10 billion XRP tokens, roughly costing about $5 billion. Now, Ripple does normally buy back tokens every once in a while. They try to meet on liquidity demand, stuff like that. Also, David Schwartz, their CTO, actually confirmed that they do buy back, but he even didn't hear anything about them buying back 10 billion tokens. It would increase the price drastically if they did, but in my opinion, this is just false rumors. This is why I say, again, do your guys' own independent research. Ripple posted an article, says faster payments are often the top value prop for global payments leaders, include incorporating crypto and cross borders. Read why finance leaders are interested in using crypto for payments in our 2023 new value report. This is a good read right here, and in my opinion, just keeps on showing why Ripple's going to succeed in the financial markets. Finn Lawman comes out and says crypto can become regulatory part of investors' portfolios once regulations are created. If you guys want to read this, you guys can. In my opinion, I do see this as bullish news. Obviously, we're still waiting for clarity in the United States. Now, Paul Grewal, the chief legal officer over at Coinbase, says maybe I've got it wrong, but as I review the transcripts of Binance's hearing from Judge Jackson, since when does Rule 8 or 11 allow any party, let alone the government, to reserve identity what exactly it claims to get past a motion and to dismiss into discovery? Now, in this, if you guys want to read in depth, I'm not going to go super into it, but they're basically saying that not all of the coins that are listed on Binance are considered securities. Only some of them are. The judge came out and said, well, are you going to say that every other coin that you did not list on their platform is considered a commodity? And they said, no, we're not going to do that. But we're not going to go back and forth at this time to determine what is a security and what's not a security. In my opinion, this is just the way that the SEC is basically trying to create confusion in the markets. Hopefully, the judge sees past this and rules in favor of Binance for the entire case. The last thing that we're going to go over for Judge Netburn and Torres, High Vibe posted this. In my opinion, this is awesome. We are going on 30 weeks since final briefings. 913, now it's 914 days since the beginning of the lawsuit, because this was posted yesterday. And they say tomorrow, which is going to be today, makes it 2 weeks since the Hinman docs were released. Obviously, we hope that they wrap this up, but we want them to actually come out with a good, strong ruling and in favor of Ripple, in my opinion. You guys might be different on the other side of it, but hopefully they rule in favor of Ripple and actually provide clarity in the markets for digital assets. Now, if you guys have any questions, anything you guys want me to cover, put them down in the comments. Thank you guys for tuning into my video, and if you guys can invest with the big dog, stay on the porch. Thank you guys, and have a good one.